Hello everyone, my name is Tien, and in this video, I am going to talk about the relationship between active level and energy level. All the data collected in this video were from my own self-tracking project. Okay, let's get started. As college students, we all know the struggles, the lack of sleep, the non-existent social lives when the test dates arrive. Personally, ever since this quarter started, I've had problems with my energy level. I feel that it is generally lower than that of last quarter. And I do notice when I'm running around doing all kind of stuff, I feel more alive and energized compared to when I just sit down and study, which makes me just want to go and take a nap. I'm really curious whether the intensity of my activities has impacts on my energy level, which leads us to the question, how does my active level affect my energy level? For this self-tracking project, what I did was I collected the data using tools, analyzed them using software in my brain, and I came up with discovery and conclusions. This is how I conducted my tracking project. First of all, I collected the data. The first data is my active level, which I put in a scale from 1 to 3 with 0 to 3, with 0 being me sleeping or lying down, not really moving my body, and 3 being very active, such as working out hard or doing something physically intense. The second set of data is my energy level, which I also put in a scale, but it's from 0 to 5, with 0 being completely exhausted or for when I am asleep, and 5 meaning I am very energized and I'm ready to do anything. I logged the data in every 1 to 2 hours, so another set of data was the time. Those were the quantitative data. For qualitative data, I jotted down some notes wherever I felt like it. So to collect all those data, I used Google spreadsheets on my phone, and then I copied them to Microsoft Windows Excel 2010 on my laptop. All the data collected were from January 16 to January 22nd. Now let's take a detailed look at this day, the 22nd, which happens to be the last day of tracking for me. Here's a table for the data with the time, the active energy levels, and notes. For example, at 6 a.m. on January 22nd, I woke up and my active level was a 1, which means I was just sitting down or doing something light at that time. And my energy level was a 2, which means I was tired. Here's a line graph for that day. I also worked on that day, so you could see my active level went up when I started work. Since I'm a waitress, so I'm on my feet a lot, I get active when I work. Here's another example. This day was January the 19th. On this day at 6:30 p.m., I started working out with my friends. My active level went up as well as my energy level. The two quantitative values actually peaked during this time too. Here are all the graphs for the full 7 days of tracking. The graphs have pretty similar trends with numbers going up and down. Okay, so the graphs look pretty nice, but what did I take out of them? The first finding or discovery for me is also the answer to a research question. How does my active level affect my energy level? And the answer is when I am more active, I have more energy and I feel more alive, which was not actually surprising, but it was a confirmation for my initial theory. Note that it is not always true the other way around, meaning I don't necessarily get more active when I have more energy. The evidence shows in the graph. The two values peaked together on almost all days. So the second finding is that I have more energy in late afternoon and early evenings. As you can see in the graphs, almost all the peaks are roughly from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. with some slight exceptions here and there, but they still stayed in the afternoon and evening range. The third finding is I actually usually crash really hard after my peak of energy level. It is sort of similar to, how people crash a few hours after drinking coffee. As you can see in the graphs, after the peaks, my energy level went downhill in just 1 to 2 hours. Sometimes it could go straight to 0.5 or 0. A bonus finding, which is actually an interesting discovery for me, is that I am not a morning person like I thought I was. I've always thought that I am that person, but apparently I just wake up early, but I don't really have a lot of energy. When I wake up, as you can see, I often wake up at around 7 a.m., but my energy level usually just stayed at 2, which is below average. Based on the data collected on this self-tracking project, I came up with some strategies to improve my energy level. First of all, I would try to be as active as I possibly can, cram in some gym time now and then, move around more so that I can get energized. Secondly, since the afternoon and early evenings is when I am the least tired, I will try to organize my work so that I can focus on more important things at that time when my brain is not foggy or exhausted. Finally, since I tend to do too much during the peak of my energy level, which leads to the sharp drop of energy level later on, so I will avoid pushing way too hard or cramming way too much stuff during that time, even though I feel like I can do it all. So that was the presentation from my self-tracking project. Now I have a question for you. Do you have the same experience as mine? Do your activity also affect your energy, or is it completely different? Think about it. That's the end of my video. Thanks for watching.